The story begins 3 centuries ago, in an age of myth. Legends spoke of dragons guarding forbidden realms and demon kings slumbering within molten fire. To end this darkness, the grand wizard Balmus, along with his 4 legendary companions, steps into the cursed forest of demons, Helmwood. Their goal? To slay a god. But this isn't the beginning, it's the final sprint. The scene shifts to mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Hamel, the warrior with white hair and golden eyes, and his companions have long since walked over the corpses of 3 demon kings. But 2 remain. The battle has already reached its boiling point. A tide of demons? Child's play. The purple-haired sorceress, Salira, unleashes her power, instantly obliterating thousands of them. Her magic can literally change the color of the sky. The blonde Saint Anais follows, her holy light purging all filth. Then the green-haired berserker Moron brings the hammer down. Literally, every strike shakes the earth. Pure raw power. See that? This is what legends are made of. But amidst all this glory, a crisis ignites from within. Look at the rage in Hamel's eyes. He's seething with hatred aimed directly at someone. Who's the target? None other than his eternally calm, always in control, white-haired ally, Vermouth, the very man later known as the Great Warrior Balmus. The fuse has been lit. The conflict explodes. His companions please? Vermouth's warnings? Hamel ignores them all. All that's left in his eyes is a final resolve. Alone, with just his sword, he charges headfirst into the Demon King's final stronghold. With a sea of demons at his back, is he marching to his death? It's too late. The Demon King appears, and its power is on a completely different level. After a desperate struggle, Hamel's final attack is completely crushed, and he himself is blasted to the ground by a wave of annihilating energy. Where's the plot armor? Someone do something. It's over. He's lost too much blood. Hamel knows his time is up. He looks at his dearest companions, bidding each a final farewell. He entrusts his final wish for vengeance and hope to Vermouth, end every last Demon King. Then, with his beloved Solia's tears in his vision, he draws his last breath. Heroic and utterly tragic. Flash forward 3 centuries. What happened to the hero who sacrificed himself for this peace? He's right here. This boy is Eugene, the reincarnation of Hamel. In his hands is a book titled The Adventures of the Great Warrior Balmus. He flips through it. Salira is called the Grand Sorceress. Anais is the Grand Saintess. Moron is the great hero. All great. And himself, Hamel? The book describes him as a braggart, a coward who spouted nonsense and held everyone back. Do you feel the rage? A 300-year-old sacrifice reduced to being called a loudmouth? He can't swallow this injustice. The real story starts right now. 300 years of silence, repaid with a single sheet of disdain. In Eugene's hands, the adventures of the great warrior Balmus cuts like a blade. Sora is revered as the great saint. Anais and Moron are immortalized. But his past life, Hamel? The pages are a mockery, reduced to a big-mouthed braggart. His comrades are glorified, his own sacrifice erased. Rage explodes in his heart. He grinds the pages under his foot and hurls the book through the window. Being forgotten hurts more than falling in battle. Staring at his young, foreign reflection in the ornate mirror, the floodgates of memory burst open. 300 years ago, I was killed by a wolf tribe army in a failed invasion. The polished surface reflects the golden eyes of Hamel the warrior. Power stirs deep within his bloodline. A cold, resolute will etches itself like stone. I can accomplish anything. Even reborn, I will kill all my former enemies with my own hands. This isn't a prayer, it's a declaration. The gears of vengeance begin turning this very moment. His gaze fixes on the portrait at the very top. Silver hair, golden eyes, dressed in resplendent military regalia. A man revered as the great warrior Balmus, Vermouth Lionheart. Eugene's heart seizes. The echo of destiny rings in his mind. I have been reborn as a descendant of Mahamudra Balmus. So his reincarnation carries not just Hamel's soul, but the blood of his enemy and comrade. Irony and fury scorch his veins. The image settles. Purple hair, yellow eyes, the face of a 13-year-old concealing a 300-year-old soul. He is not just a boy named Eugene Lionheart. He is a legendary warrior who clawed his way back from hell. This cursed rebirth, this revenge game with the world as its board, officially begins. The family's secret history was more sordid than he imagined. His ancestor Vermouth, hailed as a hero, kept a harem. Eugene sneers inwardly at the blurry female faces. As far as I know, he was never a playboy. How'd he change so much? He concludes coldly, people really do change. His former comrade, now a legendary figure, was unrecognizable. This only added to his wariness and contempt for the family he was about to enter. The family was split, a clear divide. On one side, the glamorous, resource-hoarding direct descendants. On the other, the suppressed and distrusted distant relatives. As a branch member, he wasn't even allowed real weapons training before the crucial bloodline ceremony. Shirtless in the smithy, Eugene hefts a heavy sword, muscles bulging. Rules? He never followed them in his past life. This time, he's going to shatter them completely. But he possesses a weapon these greenhouse flowers could never imagine. 300 years of combat instinct, and the magical bloodline of Vermouth himself pumping through his veins. Mana is a mage's fuel, and he will fuse this power completely into his swordsmanship. From now on, I'll use this mana in every fight. This isn't training, it's waking a slumbering beast. A flash of steel. The sturdy training dummy is torn apart like kindling under absolute, violent force. This isn't finesse, it's pure destructive power. With the sounds of wham and slash, which shards fly. The experience of a past life warrior and the potential of his current bloodline fuse perfectly in this strike. Satisfying. This is the rhythm he knows. This terrifying power sent shivers down even his father Gerard's spine. Staring at the shattered dummy at his son's feet, he could barely believe his eyes. You broke another wooden dummy. How could a 13-year-old's body be built like this? This wasn't talent. It was monstrous. His father panicked. Watching his son's inhuman physique and those frighteningly calm eyes, a horrifying thought struck him. If we fought barehanded, even I probably wouldn't last. Those eyes held not a trace of a child's innocence, only bottomless cold and resolve. He even never mentioned his deceased mother. What was this child? The deathmatch on the rooftop was just a glimpse of his childhood. My child, he is terrifying. He never acts like a child. Gerard was swallowed by guilt. He sensed dimly that his ordinary bloodline had birthed a monster who defied all reason. And he, this incapable father, didn't know how to guide him, only fear him. But worry couldn't stop the storm. Eugene pushed through hellish training, scorn simmering within. Father, how could I possibly compete with a bunch of 10 to 15-year-old kids? His rivals were never his peers. His gaze had already passed over the family walls, looking toward a much farther horizon. The bloodline ceremony, the ultimate selection held every decade to choose the family's falcon. The youths of the main and branch families gather at the root of it all, Lionheart Castle. Sounds grand and solemn, right? To Eugene, it was pure irony. A game where sheep fight for a title under the lion's gaze. And he was the wolf about to crash the flock. In his eyes, these so-called rules and enemies were full of holes. The enemy's power is great, but their will and weaknesses are already seen through. They can't truly defeat us. His experience fighting demon kings in his past life let him look down on this family squabble like an adult watching children fight. Pointless, but necessary to join. His father finally snapped. He placed a heavy hand on his son's shoulder, delivering the strictest, most feudal order. Promise me you won't compete with the main family's children. No matter how talented you are, you'll never last against them, because they've trained with real swords since childhood. It was protection, and it was surrender. But Eugene didn't know the meaning of surrender. Okay, Dad. Eugene agreed with his mouth, but his fists clenched tight, flames dancing in his eyes. This agreement held no obedience, only the fury of a provoked dragon. Not compete with the main family? He was going to trample them underfoot. The irony was thick. This year's bloodline ceremony will have 3 participants from the main family and 6 from the distant relatives. 9 contenders, only 3 from the main house, yet they held all the advantages. What a fair game. Eugene swung his sword, splitting the wooden post. His goal was simple, when all power was fusing, evolving. The shards of his past life, combat memories collided and roared with the surging torrent of his current bloodline's mana. This wasn't practice. It was the recompilation of 2 legendary forces. The next time he raised his weapon, the strike would transcend time itself. Finally, the carriage entered the vast territory of the Lionheart family. Eugene gazed out at the magnificent estate, a cold, expectant smile curling his lips. Let's see just how outstanding the descendants of the great warrior Balmus really are. The hunter had entered the grounds. The journey was long, memories swirling. In his past life as Hamel, he was supremely arrogant. That genius halo remained. Childhood alley fights saw him, alone with a sword, taking down every noble brat his age. Learning combat talent, he always dominated. This young body housed the soul of a seasoned killer. Conflict arrived faster than expected. At the castle's training grounds, the main family's young master Sion was training hard. Eugene glanced over and delivered a blunt critique. If you put a bit more power into your swing, your strike would be stronger. This calm advice sounded like the ultimate insult to the proud young master. Sion exploded. Flushed and veins bulging, he roared, "Can't you see I'm swinging with all my might? Don't think everyone has special talent like you." He screamed, slamming the label of talent elitist onto Eugene. Talent? That word was a key, instantly unlocking the cage of rage in Eugene's heart. A cold smirk twisted his lips. "I see. I was never the best. That was someone else." The one peerlessly skilled in both sword and magic, revered by history as the great warrior Balmus, his comrade Vermouth. The carousel of memories began spinning wildly. Sora, who founded a massive religion, was worshipped as the great saint. Anise, who built a prosperous kingdom and was crowned its ruler. Moran, famed across the lands, hailed as the great hero. They all ascended to the pantheon, revered by the world. And him? Hemel the warrior? Why was history only filled with slander against him? Why were the demon kings still alive? Vermouth promised he would kill them all. Rage burned through reason. Eugene roared inwardly like a beast. "Vermouth, you bastard!" 300 years of betrayal erupted at once. The truth written by history was cold and ridiculous. He died with the Demon King. Vermouth made a pact. The war ended, and the world enjoyed 300 years of peace. Look, what a noble sacrifice, what a perfect ending. Only he was nailed to the pillar of shame as a braggart, the erased offering on the altar of peace. His father's guard, Sir Gordon, seemed to see through his agitation. The old fox offered a meaningful smile, his words holding a veiled threat. "If you're this anxious already, Master Eugene, I'm afraid you'll face quite a bit of trouble in Lionheart Castle in the future." Trouble? Eugene lowered his gaze. He came here precisely to cause the biggest trouble of all. They drew closer to the family's heart. The castle lay ahead, the journey still long. The wheels rattled clunk clunk, mirroring the tension coiling in Eugene's heart. Sir Gordon offered comfort. "We still have a ways to go before reaching Lionheart Castle." Yes, there was still time. Time to let the rage settle, to temper his resolve into a sharper blade. Magical gates are installed throughout the territory, so travel isn't difficult. Then why am I suffering in this horse-drawn carriage? Because you're not permitted to use the magical gates. Huh. Blatant discrimination, undisguised classism. Eugene smiled. Good. This way, he'd feel no guilt when he tore it all down. Finally, the massive golden gates swung open before him, flags bearing the griffin crest snapping in the wind. "Welcome to Lionheart Castle, Master Eugene." A servant bowed. Eugene looked up at the grand castle belonging to his great ancestor, his gaze sharp as a blade. The humiliation of the past, the hatred of the present, all would be settled here. "Vermouth, I'm here. Get ready for the tidal wave your cursed descendant is about to unleash." Arriving at Lionheart Castle, Eugene could care less about the opulent decorations and historic crests. A maid named Neela greets him with trembling deference, but he sees her merely as a new piece of his surroundings, a tool to be used and dismissed, ordering her to take him to the training grounds. Settle into his new quarters? Not happening. Eugene has no intention of resting. His current body is the very weapon that needs calibrating. 300 years of top-tier warrior experience from his past life, fused with his current magical talent. He needs a space to test the limits of this new vessel. Maid Neela is 16, perfectly trained. But to Eugene, who's lived over 3 centuries, it all seems like child's play. Her deference, her common background, even her very worth are sized up and found wanting under his frigid, ancient gaze. Sion, the young master of the main family, and his sister Ciela are discussing this cousin from the sticks, Eugene. To them, he's just another distant relative come to curry favor, a sentiment dripping from their every condescending word. And what is this country bumpkin doing in the training grounds right now? He's wielding the practice spear as if it were the weapon that once slew demon lords. Every jab, every sweep is guided by 3 centuries of killer instinct. This isn't training. Eugene treats each swing as real combat, merging the perfected muscle memory of his past life with the overwhelming magical power coursing through him now. The whoosh of his staff isn't just air, it's killing intent. He is literally redefining physical enhancement. The expressions of Sion and Ciela, hiding in the shadows, have completely transformed. Their condescension is shattered, replaced by sheer, incomprehensible awe. The speed and power on display are utterly inhuman for someone their age. Maid Neela is even worse, her face ghostly pale, legs trembling on the verge of collapse. The awe quickly evaporates, replaced by the indignant fury of a privileged heir who feels slighted. Sion storms out, pointing an accusing finger at Eugene, who gave his branch family member the right to use their training ground. The arrogance, momentarily frightened away by shock, comes rushing back tenfold. Eugene simply turns, replying with an infuriatingly calm, "I am wielding a spear." That was the final straw for Sion. The sheer audacity. It felt like his personal dignity, no, the entire authority of the main family was being stomped on. Sion snaps. He roars an order for Eugene to apologize on the spot, as if reprimanding an unruly servant. But an apology? From Hamel, a hero of legend? From Eugene, burning with rage at the very name he was meant to protect? To a little lordling like this? A joke. Seeing his commands ignored, Sion goes for the throat. He viciously insults Eugene's lineage and his father, that pathetic countryman. With that single sentence, he stomps squarely on the fuse, connecting all of Eugene's past and present anger. The calm in Eugene's eyes vanishes. It's no longer the annoyance of dealing with a noisy child. It's the pure, focused coldness of a veteran warrior looking at a target. He speaks slowly, his voice soft but laced with the tang of iron and blood. "Fine. Let's play." The duel is on. Sion flares with righteous fury, drawing his sword, mana surging around him. He intends to crush this ignorant branch relative with overwhelming force. He charges, a raging lion pouncing on its prey. And then? There was no and then. In an instant too fast for anyone, even the witness Ciela, to see, Eugene moves. No fancy technique, no flashy magic. Just one kick. A kick condensed from a lifetime of skill and a body of immense power. Crunch. The once menacing Sion is launched backwards like a discarded ragdoll, slamming into the ground, unable to rise. Deafening silence. A stormy beginning, and in the very next instant, it was already over. With that single kick, Eugene cracked the very sky of the Lionheart family. The old walls of rules and hierarchy began to fracture, and everyone present understood with chilling clarity. The Real storm has only just begun. In the training yard, Sion roars and strikes first. Filled with the pride of the main family, he aims to crush Eugene from the start. A single moment later, he realizes his mistake. A colossal, foundational mistake. Eugene's fist. No, it's no mere fist. It's a battering ram, shatters Sion's entire offensive and his fragile ego in one strike. And it's not over. Even as the shockwave from the punch lingers, Eugene's leg follows like a thunderclap. A high kick catches Sion square across the face, sending him spinning through the air like a ragdoll before slamming into the dirt. A heavy, suffocating silence descends. Even the smirks on Heir and Ciela's faces freeze solid, unable to keep up with the brutal reality. A single move. That's all it took. Sion, the proud scion of the main Lionheart line, was tossed aside like refuse in a fair, public duel. It defied belief. It violated every rule of his world. How can a mere branch family member achieve this? Ciela can't stay silent either. Her brother's humiliating defeat chills her blood, turning her faint suspicion into a sharp accusation. He's right. If you didn't cheat, then how do you explain that power? That speed? She searches Eugene's face desperately, hoping for even a flicker of guilt or panic. But what does she find? She finds only stillness. A glacial, profound calm. Eugene doesn't even bother defending himself. He just meets their gazes with a dispassionate look that could freeze fire. I didn't. Everything I used was within the rules. Don't challenge if you can't handle losing. His quiet words land with more force than any shout, leaving Heir and Ciela struck dumb. With that, Eugene turns to leave, his final words hanging in the air, colder than steel. Furthermore, instead of questioning me, perhaps you should ask yourselves, is this really all the vaunted pride of the main house is worth? Not even capable of blocking a simple spear thrust. That line stings more than the kick. Sion tries to rise, to shout a denial, but his legs give way, dumping him back into the dust. A duel ends quickly, but the storm it spawns is only beginning. Eugene has barely returned when his father Gerard finds him, face grim. Before they can speak, the door opens to reveal Heir and a still fuming Sion, blocking their path like prosecutors. The temperature in the room plummets instantly. Heizer's gaze is a blade aimed at Gerard. "Lord Gerard, what a fine son you've raised," openly provoking the main family, disturbing the natural order. Will you just stand by and watch him run amok? Do you have any idea what calamity this will bring upon your branch? He wields family order and disaster like a bludgeon, trying to crush the mild-mannered father. Eugene watches coolly, ready to step in. But to everyone's shock, Gerard, the man known for his softness, does not yield. He straightens his back. His voice is low but unshakable. Lord Heir, first, the duel was proposed by young Master Sion himself. Second, he insulted my son. As a father, I see no fault in Eugene accepting a fair duel to answer that insult. Unless you believe the dignity of the main house requires special protection. His quiet question is a devastating counter. Gerard's words strike Heir with the same force as Eugene's kick. The knight's face flushes crimson, his mouth opening and closing soundlessly. Is all he can muster before dragging the groaning Sion away in defeat. Eugene looks at his father standing before him, that not-so-broad back suddenly seeming unyielding. A tiny crack forms in the ice around his heart. After the confrontation, Gerard breathes a sigh of relief, but the worry in his eyes only deepens. He leads Eugene away, back to their temporary quarters, where a surprisingly lavish dinner awaits. He knows his time here is over. Remaining in this viper's nest would only expose his weakness. Sitting his son down, his expression is painfully complicated. Eugene, the others from the branches will be arriving soon. Promise me you will be careful. In this moment, he isn't a disrespected branch family member. He's just a father about to part with his son, his heart full of anxiety. Eugene looks at the new gray hairs at his father's temples and finds himself at a loss for words. Hamel, the lone warrior who once died without a second thought, now feels the weight of this thing called concern. He cuts into his meat with force. I know, father. You too. The farewell dinner is quiet, but something fundamental has shifted. After seeing Gerard off, Eugene walks alone onto the highest castle corridor. The setting sun bathes the grand edifice, this legacy of vermouth and his own past life sacrifice, in a somber, golden hue. The breeze toys with his silver hair, but cannot cool the fire in his eyes. Gazing at the sinking sun, he whispers, Balmus, you bastard. Watch me. I'm back. His maid Neela quietly approaches, presenting the schedule for the arriving branch families. The storm's clouds are gathering beyond the walls. Under the same setting sun, on the other side of the castle, the atmosphere is icy to the bone. In Sion's chambers, Lady Annalisa sits ramrod straight, her face a mask of frozen calm. Heir stands before her, having finished his report like a prisoner awaiting sentencing. The silence is deafening, punctuated only by the soft tap-tap-tap of her fan against her palm. So, what you're telling me is that my eldest son, the future hope of Lionheart, was utterly crushed by a single strike from a distant branch family brat. It's not a question. It's the cold opening of a verdict. Annalisa's gaze slides to her daughter. You were there, Ciela. You saw it closely. Tell me, what was that strike like? Ciela can't meet her mother's eyes, her voice trembling slightly. It was impossibly fast. My brother saw it coming. He was in a guard position, but the spear, it passed through like a ghost. That speed, that power, it didn't belong to someone our age. Annalisa's pupils contract sharply. She whirls back to Heir, her voice rising to a sharp, contained fury. Then Heir, how does a branch family nobody who has barely entered this castle possess such power? The only answer is the heavy chain training. Tell me, have you, or has anyone from the main house, violated our laws and leaked our core secrets to him? Answer me. Heir breaks into a cold sweat, denying it vehemently. My lady, I swear on the founder's blood, no training method has been leaked. The boy, he's like a monster. His power seems to have come from nowhere, far from calming Annalisa. This answer is oil on the flames. The last shred of her hope for a simple explanation turns to ash. She rises and walks, step by deliberate step, to stand before her own son. Sion shrinks back from the glacial fury in her eyes. Moth smack! A sharp, explosive slap echoes through the chamber. With all her might, Annalisa sends Sion spinning, blood trickling from his split lip. Worthless! You can't even withstand one blow. She whirls on Heir, her staff aimed at the shuddering knight. I entrusted my son's education to you, and this is your result? You turned him into a one-hit wonder. Should I invoke the family discipline on you right now? Heir drops to his knees with a thud, pressing his forehead to the cold floor, utterly silenced. Annalisa breathes heavily, a murderous intent coiling in her chest like a venomous serpent. She finally understands. This Eugene is not some ignorant branch family upstart. He's a poisoned dagger, already plunged deep into the path she carefully paved for Sion. This variable must be eliminated. But how? Direct assassination is too crass, a catastrophic risk if discovered. Tampering in the upcoming bloodline recognition ritual is too obvious. The elders are not blind. She needs something subtler, more elegant, and no less deadly. Her frigid gaze lands on her daughter, Ciela. A scheme, elegant and ruthless, crystallizes in her mind. Late at night, Annalisa summons Ciela alone. The day's anger has vanished, replaced by a terrifying, calculated calm. She takes her daughter's hand, her voice dripping with false sincerity. "My daughter, you see the cracks forming within our family. This antagonism between the main house and the branches threatens us all. For the sake of family harmony, to quell this pointless strife, I need you to approach him. That branch family boy, Eugene." Ciela understands instantly. A chill of dread shoots up her spine. But resistance is impossible. Refusal is unthinkable. Her mother's smile remains gentle, but every word is a command edged in ice. Become his friend. Understand him. Observe him. Your beauty and wit are our finest weapons. Go, my daughter. Do what must be done for our family. Ciela bows her head, her gaze hidden behind golden lashes. Her voice is barely a whisper. "Yes, mother." And so, the stage is set for a new, bloodless, and infinitely more treacherous battlefield. Eugene stands atop the castle, his fists clenched as if he could crush the oppressive air itself. His gaze pierces the night, aiming for the deepest shadows of this continent. Vermouth. 300 years ago, we fought side by side. Now, it's my turn to play a game, with the world you left behind, and with your precious descendants. Wait for it. Wait for me. Beneath the peaceful surface of House Lionheart, raging currents are colliding. The powder keg is waiting for its spark. The scene pulls back slowly. The immense Lionheart castle still glitters with light in the night. Yet behind each window lies a different ambition, a different plot. The bell for the bloodline recognition ritual is about to toll. All the players, branch elites, main house nobles, and a monster with memories from an ancient past are taking their positions. A storm that could reshape the world is quietly, inexorably, brewing within this ancient family. End of chapter. Stay tuned for the next round of Eugene Lionheart's Dimensional Reduction Strike. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic recaps next time. This just blew up. Heir, Sion's knight and teacher, confessing in front of Lady Annalisa that he actively sought out a fight and lost to a little girl. Talk about an epic slap in the lady's face. Annalisa's killing intent is off the charts. "Touch my son. If my husband wasn't fond of your knighthood, I'd end you here and now." But she knows the real problem isn't the dog, it's the new master that spooked him. Eugene Lionheart. Pathetic. Annalisa has her shame-faced son, Sion, dragged away without a second glance. The ornate doors slam shut, her expression cold as ice. But her mind, and that fan in her hand, are already calculating the next move. "Oh heavens," she mutters behind her fan, her violet eyes betraying nothing. She summons her daughter, Ciela. Time for a mother-daughter chat that's anything but warm. "Become friend with that boy." It's a gentle command, chilling in its delivery. Ciela is baffled. Why? Behind the fan, Annalisa's gaze is sharp as a blade. "Because that boy is already strong enough to ruin your brother. I want him dead, but I can't be the obvious one." Standing before the family's black banner with its roaring red lion, Annalisa feels the crushing weight of their legacy. To secure her son's path, this wild card must be managed or eliminated, and her daughter will be the perfect, friendly set of eyes. Operation begins. Annalisa dons her perfect smile, orchestrating everything for her daughter. A meeting with Eugene? Naturally. Even gifts are prepared. Make the lone wolf from the backwaters feel the warmth of family before the noose tightens. The camera pans to other Lionheart youths. Deckel, 11, visibly terrified. Hansen, 14, looking arrogantly confident. Jules, 10, mostly just there for the ride. Clearly, someone's already had a reality check. The castle is buzzing. Maid Neela sprints to find Eugene, looking like she's seen a ghost. "Master Eugene, they're all here." Eugene's eyes narrow. "Other relatives? Already? They got here fast. Seems the whole damn clan's sniffed something in the air." Even Eugene's gentle father, Gerard, is sweating buckets now. The real powers of the family, Patriarch Gild and his younger brother, Guillaume, have arrived. This isn't a family reunion. It feels like Destiny's blade is about to drop. The pressure is cranked to 11. The final rays of sunset illuminate the grand avenue leading to the main castle, lined with solemn soldiers and finely dressed nobles. Every single gaze is fixed on the glowing golden archway at its end. The storm is brewing. The second daughter, Annalisa, stands with her children. But now, the legendary eldest daughter, Ciela, makes her entrance. ranked first among the elite. Every young contender, including a pale-face Ion, feels the cold stare from the top of the food chain. The sound of hooves shatters the twilight peace. A party of knights rides in under the setting sun. Leading them, a white-haired, long-bearded old man sits silently on his horse. His mere presence solidifies the air in the entire plaza. Patriarch Gild Lionheart has arrived. Time for the main cast. On the left, the current head of the Lionheart family, Gild Lionheart. His stare alone is lethal. And on the right, smiling calmly, is his younger brother, the 7-year-old Guillaume Lionheart. Look at them. The lineage, the aura, they embody pure bloodline supremacy. Patriarch Gild slowly raises his scepter. His gaze sweeps over every young descendant in the crowd and inevitably lands on the one standing at the edge, whose eyes are unsettlingly calm. Eugene. His stare lingers for a moment, like a judge passing silent verdict. The true game begins now. And here it comes. The patriarch stops before Sion, and a single sentence makes the chosen son sweat rivers. You seem to have grown quite a bit, Sion. Pressure? More like dropping Mount Everest on his shoulders. Yet, to Sion's sister Ciela, the patriarch offers a gentle smile. The favoritism, the family's cold calculus, could not be clearer. In a single glance, the internal hierarchy is laid bare. Patriarch Gild turns to the assembly, his gaze sweeping over them all one final time before he makes his declaration. His invitation to all the young descendants carries an undeniable weight of authority. Tonight is more than just a party. A meaningful smile plays on his lips as he drops the bombshell. As for the detailed rules of the bloodline recognition ceremony, we'll have a good, long chat about it at tonight's feast. There it is. The core secret is finally coming to light. Every young heart in the room skips a beat.